Hey guys, it's Avery and welcome back to my channel. Today on the second episode of the Audition Diaries, I will be going over how to build your resume, cover letters, like how company applications work online, and what places I auditioned this year. So I hope you guys enjoy and let's get into it. So first things first, I want to go over resumes. Resumes in the dance world are, I feel like, fairly similar to business ones, but still definitely different. For me, there are definitely like a lot of online templates you can use. At Houston Ballet Academy, all the people that were auditioning with, there's something called career planning, and we had someone help us like they gave us multiple templates we could use and options. And like I said, there are some online, but the one that I use, I made it so all my personal info is not on this resume, and I will put it on the screen here, and you guys can screenshot it if you'd like to see it, but I printed it out so you guys can maybe see it a little better. But basically, I put my headshot in the top left corner, and sorry, this is black and white, but always print your resume in color and on good paper because that does get noticed. So I just want you guys to know that. But I put my name up top, and then I put my phone number, my email address, my height in like feet and inches and centimeters. I put like hair and eye color. I'm a dark blonde with blue eyes, or light brown, whatever you want to call my hair. And then my citizenship, I'll put it a little closer so you guys can see. And then training, so like for this year I'd put Houston Ballet Academy, Pro 2. And then you could put like faculty, like the main people you work with. Here's what the rest of it looks like. And you also can put all of your summer programs you did, if you attended on scholarship, maybe like staff you worked with there. And then, sorry, I have my laptop to keep track of my notes and things I need to talk about because there's just so much to go over. Like I can't fully remember everything on my own. Oh, and then underneath your summer tenses, you can put all of your performance experience / roles. And the order I put, like, how I wrote it out was choreographer, role, and the year performed. So example would be like Nutcracker. Like I put Stanton Welch because he choreographed Houston Ballet's Nutcracker, and then I'd put role, so maybe like sugar attendant, and then I put 2025 because I performed that last Christmas. So that's kind of what you would put for each of your roles. Definitely put like the more important ones. I think roles you did when you were like 10 or 12 doesn't really matter as much as they do like when you're older, because that's what they're looking for, like what have you done most recently. And then underneath all my roles, I'd put like my awards and honors. So I was a Young Arts winner in 2024. So I put that. I'm also part of National Honor Society in school. I think it is important to like for companies to know that like you're smart, I don't know, or that like you do well in school, because they just don't want to pick someone based on like how they're dancing. They also want to make sure that like you know how to do school and that you like are going to be smart in rehearsals and stuff like that. And then for the final section and I'd also put like if you got like first place at YGP, or if you went to the Prix de Lausanne, or if you got like final round at something like that, you would also put that in your awards and honors. For the last section is references. So I put 3 references, like for reference letters or like letters of recommendations. For mine, I would include their name, the program, and their email address. So for me personally, I had one staff at Houston Ballet Academy. I of course had Ashley, my coach at home. She's definitely, if like I could only put one letter of recommendation, I'd put hers because I've known her the longest, she's known me the longest, and she's just a great coach, and I love her so much. And then I also had another person from my old studio as a reference. So multiple different people, each 3 of my references dance at different top tier companies. So that's kind of what I did for my resume. Again, here is like an example. The next section will be cover letters. So cover letters are definitely difficult to write. Now, not every company would require a cover letter, but sometimes they'd have a cover letter, like if you're applying like online, sometimes they'd have a slot where you have to put it, or if you have to email your materials in, you should write a cover letter. Also made like a template with no specific company, just kind of what I had. So I would write my name, my address, my city, state, zip code, And I am training at Houston Valley Academy right now, but I would just use my like address in the Dallas area because that's where my house is. And then I'd put the date, the artistic director, company name, company address, company city, state, and zip. And then I'd put dear and then the artistic director, or if there's two. Like for example, at Houston Ballet, it would be like dear Stanton Welch and dear Julie Kent, or you put Miss and Mr. with it. And then my name is Avery.Stafford. I am 17 years old. You put your age and where you're currently dancing. I'm 17. I'm dancing at Houston Valley Academy year round. I'd like to apply for a position with, for example, I'd be applying for a second company. So if I'm using Houston, because I'm here as an example, I'm applying for HB2. And you also put like apprentice or whatever you're applying for, and then a short statement of like what you'd bring to the company. Like, I'm really hardworking, I pick up choreography fast, and I'm really expressive when I dance, stuff like that. Just really, you have to make yourself sound appealing, like why they'd want to bring you into audition or to give you a company contract. Like, make yourself sound really good. Because it's definitely helpful if you have like a good cover letter, especially the section about you. So I'm gonna bring it in closer. That's what the top part should look like. And again, I'll put a screenshot right here of what I did, or like an example. Another thing, so the first paragraph will be that my name is. Super short and sweet, just what I had here. So this should be 4 paragraphs total. The second paragraph is gonna be why you want to dance at that company. So like, I want to dance, like again, if I'm using Houston for example, because I dance here, like I want to dance at Houston Ballet because I've been in their summer. Like if you've been to a company's like summer intensive, definitely throw that in there, especially if you've been there multiple times, or if you worked with a staff who works at the company. Like for example, I had taken class and worked with Erica Fishback at Colorado Ballet. So like, when I would apply like for Colorado Ballet, I worked with Erica Fishback, and I really enjoyed like coaching, like her coaching, put stuff like that in there, you know? And then just like why you'd want to dance there, the rep that they're working on, stuff like that. And then paragraph all about you. This will be the same in every cover letter. This is the 3rd paragraph, and it's like why they should hire you. So I just put like, I'm hardworking. I put some, like I'm training, like, or I've been to summers on scholarship, or like I've been Young Arts winner, like kind of put some of your awards that you would have in your resume in this section. Stuff like that I think is good to put in that paragraph, all about you and why they should hire you. And like I said, that'll be the same for all. And the last paragraph will be your conclusion, including like what materials you're submitting and stuff like that. Like if they just want variation, if they just want classwork and PAW or contemporary, like whatever it is, like say like I included my technique video, my variation, and my headshot and arabesque like down below. And then you're gonna put sincerely your name, email, and phone number again. So this is what the full template looks like. And I'll have the screenshot so you guys can like see it. Next, I'm gonna be talking about applications. So when you're like, I suggested in my first episode of this series, you should make a list of all the companies you're going to apply to. I applied to around like 40, like I did 40 applications. So obviously all of them are completely different. There's gonna be different requirements, different websites. You may email them, you may like do a portal online, a bunch of different things. So I'm gonna be going over like what to expect and kind of how some of them are. So each company is gonna have a different application process. And sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, they're gonna have you email them. They're gonna have an email, and they're gonna have directions of what you should email them. And if it's an email, you should like address the email and kind of make it a cover letter, and then saying I like attached all my things down below. And sometimes they're on just their website, and you select like what you're auditioning for. And then sometimes it's through Dance Apply, which is another big website people like use for their applications, and that's also completely different. And then each company is going to want different video requirements. So when I filmed my audition video, I made sure it encompassed like everything I could possibly think of. And sometimes they require you to do 2 variations, 1, they'll have like maybe 2 contemporary solos, but I never had a company that needed that. One company needed improv. Some companies need paw work, but that's mostly for the guys, but sometimes girls do have to have it as well. And then I would always add, if it didn't specifically specify, like a performance video at the end, and I selected my Gamzati temple variation because I had like the best run through of that on stage, and I was like, why not include that, because it's kind of more contemporary-ish variation, and I feel like it was just a very different vibe than my Grand Pas Classique or Dulcinea variation, because those are both tutu variations and Gamzati is like a skirt. So I just added that at the end. I forgot to mention that in my other video, but sometimes you can add that as well. It just depends on what you have, but I would make sure it's not older than like 6 months to a year. Like, you definitely don't want it older than that. So that was from like May-ish, June of 2025. So I was like, I guess I'll like leave that in. It's not like too old. And then, so whenever I had videos for companies and they had different requirements, since obviously I have a YouTube channel, I have YouTube Studio, and I can look at analytics. For example, if someone actually watched my video. For some companies that I got rejected, they didn't even watch my video because I made individual links for every single company. So if I go on my like content page of unlisted videos, because obviously I make my audition videos unlisted, I had tons and tons of like videos, and so many, and I could see individually like if they actually watched my video, how long they watched my video for. And like, there was a company I applied for and I got a rejection super fast, and they didn't even watch my video, which shows they must have been looking for something very specific. They could have looked at my resume, that maybe they wanted someone older, someone younger, like just someone who didn't look like me. It really just depends on the company. And some companies I did get auditions for, they watched my video for a very long time and like over and over again. So it's really cool to see like who actually watches it and just the analytics of everything. So I'd recommend doing that. And YouTube Studio is free, so I think it's a really great resource to use to see like if companies are actually watching your videos. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna be talking about in this video is like auditions. So after I talk about the different kinds of auditions, I'm gonna talk about the ones that I auditioned for this year, like in person. Because some places I just submitted things online, and some places like just never responded. Some places I got rejections. Some places I got like things without even going in person. So it just really depended on the company, but I'm gonna read the ones I went in person for after I go through the different kinds. So the first one is probably the most well-known one, is a cattle call audition / like an open audition. So that one is where anybody can show up, no pre-screen needed, no video needed. You just show up with your resume and like a headshot. And there's maybe like 50, 60 people. So the biggest one I did was probably like 50 people. Those aren't ideal because you have no idea if they're even interested in you. I mean, sometimes they go really well, and sometimes they don't cut you, sometimes they cut you. It really just depends. I wouldn't recommend cattle call auditions if you don't have to do it, but I think if it's a company you really want to audition for and they didn't respond to you, or they only do cattle call, I would recommend going, but just try to stick with smaller auditions so you actually get seen. Another one, which is probably the most common one nowadays, is pre-screen auditions. So basically they have, I'm gonna reference my notes for a second. You submit your audition materials to the company and they look at it, and then they have like a limited number of spots for an in-person audition. For example, like you submit your video online and maybe they only had like 40 spots, maybe like 30, 40 spots of in-person. So it's definitely cut down, and you know that they're truly interested in you and they want to see you in person. And I did 3 of these, and those are probably the most common nowadays. And then the other one is an open audition, which is anybody can come, but there are a limited amount of people that can come. For example, the cattle call, anybody, as many people as you want can come. An open audition, anybody can come, but maybe they cap it at 50 people, maybe it's 30 people. It really just depends on the company. But for the open auditions, I did 2 of these. And also for the cattle call, I think I only did 1 audition like that. So just so you guys know, open audition I did 1, pre-screen I did 3, open audition I did 2. I wanted to clarify with open auditions that they, like, anybody can register, but they only have, like, they cap it at a number. So like you have to register for the audition, but only so many people can do that. So I did want to clarify that. The other audition type is like an audition for like a second company, and it's also a summer intensive audition. I did 2 of these auditions, and basically you get evaluated for summer and second company. So that is nice. I think if you're on the younger side, this is definitely a better option. So that's like another kind of audition. And then the last one is like a pre-screen, so you have to submit your video to this company, and then you get invited personally to take company class. There's most of the time not too many other people auditioning. It's either just you auditioning, so you really get to, you go in person and you're like one of the dancers there, and these are my favorite, or there'd be like 2 or like 3 other people with you. So and they'd give you like dates to choose from. Most of the time, they'd like be really like compensating and help you choose a date that worked the best for you to take company class. And I had 4 of these auditions. So those are the different kinds of auditions. I'm gonna tell you guys where I auditioned. Okay, so I'm not gonna specify which kinds of auditions these ones were, but I auditioned for Philadelphia Ballet, Atlanta Ballet, Dutch National Ballet, Tulsa Ballet, Cincinnati Ballet, Orlando Ballet, Charlotte Ballet, Ballet Met, Boston Ballet, Royal Winnipeg Ballet, and Kansas City Ballet. So all of these are the ones I went in person for. So I did lots of traveling, and the next episode in this series will be like a traveling vlog of me going to an audition. And a lot of my next videos in this will just be my vlogs and experiences there. And some cities and places I visited were definitely cooler than others. Like, for example, Dutch National was in Amsterdam. I've never been to Europe before, and it was a really cool experience. And that'll be my first vlog, so that'll be the next one in this series. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that. And I wanted to note that depending on the company, it's completely different. And I'll talk specifically about what each company did in the last video where I share my results. But some companies cut after bars. Some places you maybe get invited to do the whole technique class, and then they'll invite just a few people to learn some rep. So therefore, like, the rest of you guys would get like cut, and then some people would get invited to rep, and then only a few people who got invited to rep would get interviews. In some places you just did a full class and then interviews. Some places you get cut like after bar, which I feel like is not like the fairest judgment unless they're very much so like looking for someone specific to fill in a spot. But they do, cuts are still a thing. Most of the time they're gonna call the numbers that they want to stay. So if you don't hear your number called, you're cut, but it depends on the company. Overall, what I learned through this process was it's not always based on your technique, or you could be the best in the room and not get the job. I have experienced this. I've experienced many different things, which I will talk about at the end of this series, but you just have to be at the right place, the right time, the right kind of dancer the director's looking for, and it's a long process. It's scary and it's stressful, but you'll end up wherever you're meant to be, and just trust that God has a plan for you, and you'll end up at the right place for you at that time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Again, not a lot of people post tips about audition season, so I hope I can be that person for you and just help you understand kind of how it works, because I had no idea how anything works, and people are very secretive, I think, with stuff like this, and I don't think it needs to be. I think it's a hard enough world. Like, I just want to help you guys. And yeah, the next episodes in this series will be my traveling audition vlogs, so stay tuned for those. I think those will be really fun. But yeah, stay tuned, and don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, follow me on Instagram. Bye, guys.